So the war would have broken out, or the war would have gotten started when? When did the war start?
Well, I joined up in 1941 in the fall, but they didn't call me till February of 42.
Okay.
And then I went to Toronto. So it's
Right. So I guess before you even joined the military, before you even got involved in that, when you would have been 16, 17, 18 years old, how much of the war were you aware of already? Did you have any idea of what Hitler was doing?
Not too much.
Not too much?
Not too much, because I can remember my mother, when the war broke out, it was in the fall of that 41, and she said my brother couldn't go. He was older than I was, but he had an enlarged heart. And she said, well, if Elwood can't go, you can go with it for him. So I did.
Well, what was that like? Just to know that you're going to be such a young girl and going off to war.
Oh, I had been working in Edmonton. I came from Fawcett, that was north of Edmonton. And I was working at Merrick Drug Store. At this soda counter, they had a tea room and everything, and I was there. So it was, I don't know, it didn't seem to make any difference.
I guess that's all you would have known at that point, right?
Well, I had never been away from home before, just to Edmonton, and the first year was lonesome, but after that I came home, and then it wasn't, because you were going back to see all your friends, you see, but it was...
Right. So just backing up a little bit to before you even were in the military itself, in terms of Hitler, how much did you know about Hitler and what he was doing?
Me, I didn't know too much about it at all. My mother knew more about it than I did. Yeah.
So your mom knew full well then what could happen,
yeah,
if you were sent over.
Yeah.
But obviously with your brother having the disability that he did, she felt that that would be the best thing for your family, that you would go over there and serve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I could have been posted anywhere, but after I got in, was posted overseas 3 times, but my section flight commanders took me off because they said I was too young too young to go overseas.
Really? Too young?
Yeah, my squadron leader of the section there I was in.
Huh.
He just said send somebody else.
Oh, that's interesting.
I remember the day when we left Edmonton. The train was full. Not the train, but the area around. And I can remember I couldn't find my mother to say goodbye to her. And a friend of mine put me up on his shoulders and led me up. And finally, just when we went to go on the train, she came and I seen her.
What did you feel in that moment when you could see your mom in the distance like that?
I was afraid I wasn't going to get to see her before I left, but I managed to. She was working in Edmonton. She was a nurse, and she didn't get off quite in time, but it was okay. There's so many people you couldn't see, and we were waiting for the train to come in from BC, and on the train was half of the train was soldiers, and the rest were BC girls, and then we got on with them and went to Toronto. But we weren't allowed to get off the train the same time as the soldiers were.
How come?
They didn't want us to mix because we were young girls, and most of them hadn't been away from home before, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, because I looked up the area that you were in, the RCAFWD, the Air Force Women's Division, And apparently that was the first branch of the Canadian Armed Services that actually recruited women. First time ever.
Yeah. And the first it was a quack. They came from England, CWAC. And then the numbers went from all the officers they picked. My number was W300 655. So I was the 655th girl to join.
Wow.
That was a long time ago.
What was your job? What was your role in the military? What did you do?
I was a timekeeper when I first went in. That was all the pilots went up in the air, and there was A flight, B flight, C flight, D flight, D and F and G. They all had so many students to learn to fly, and I kept the timekeeper at time when they were up in the air and when they came down, and when they went up and when they came down, of all the boys. And then I was transferred to Clinton. That was a radar school. You were locked in.
What do you mean you were locked in?
The gates were shut and locked at night, all the time. It's a radar school. It was American. And I guess they did business that we weren't supposed to know.
Some confidential business, yeah. I guess.
There was, I think, about 25 Canadians, and the rest were all Americans. So. Did
the men within your base, within your station, did they treat you did they talk down to you? Did they disrespect you? Did they look at you like you're like you're not an equal? Like how are you treated back then?
Just the same thing as anybody else. There was the men didn't. We had lots of fun with them, the pilots. I worked in the flight, and there was, maybe 8 or 10 officers and so many men that went up, and you knew them all. And most of them knew the next flight to you too, but it was, I can remember one night they were night flying, and this fellow came in, and they used to have flying suits that they put on because it was cold. And he looked down, and he went to put his flying suit on, and he looked down, and he looked up at me, and they said, "My God, I'm a father." There was a cat in his flying suit. It was 6 little kittens. That was funny.
Wow, that would be unexpected.
Huh?
That would be very unexpected.
Yeah.
Did anybody that you served with, did any of your friends pass away? Did they get killed?
We had one that was going up to the outside end to get hamburgers and things for everybody. And a car hit her and killed her, but that was the only one.
But nothing military related?
No. Well, yeah, she was in the service.
But she wasn't killed in action?
No, no.
That's almost ironic, the fact that she would get killed outside of action.
Yeah. We had different ones killed, men killed on the station when they were flying.
Yeah, so talk about that. How many men were killed during your time?
Maybe 4. But they weren't in my flights. They were in another flight or something.
That would almost be more stressful for you, because you being on the ground, you can't really control what they're doing in the air. So
No.
you can direct them, you can guide them as much as you can.
No, you can't do nothing. No. No, the officers, they either had an officer with them or they went solo. That was by themselves. So they either had...
Did that cause you a lot of anxiety?
Not really. You kind of expect it when you're in a service or something like that. It didn't bother you much. No.
You'd have to get used to it.
Well, it's hard to remember back exactly. There was a lot of women in the service. They did jobs from everything. They packed parachutes. They were in the offices, and they cooked. They did everything, really.
So you being a timekeeper and telephone operator, in terms of the roles that women could do, was that pretty high up or what?
Oh, no, no. I was just, right, maybe general duty, kind of like. The office would be the ones that are in administration. That was keeping track of everybody and whatever. But everybody else were about the same level. Parachute droppers, they taught you everything, you see. And then, most of all, they taught you to polish your shoes and polish your buttons.
Be presentable.
Huh? Yeah.
Be presentable.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Do you remember the day when Germany was liberated?
Yeah.
Tell me about that day.
Oh, I just don't know exactly what happened or anything, but I know that we had lots of fun.
You must have been celebrating.
Yeah.
Celebrating. Because that would have been in 1945, correct?
Because we didn't, in 1946, there was a lot of them got out ahead of me, but I didn't get out till March of 46.
In terms of your service in the military, not a bad experience at all.
No. No, it sure wasn't. Not for me, and I don't think it was for a lot of the girls either. They liked their job, they learned how to do everything, you know. It was a great experience for everybody. It was, I don't know. If I was 19 again and the war broke out, I'd be the first one there to enlist again. It was good. There was nothing wrong with it at all.
So you would encourage 19-year-old, 20-year-olds to join the military?
I don't know now. It's, the world has changed so much since then. You know, we weren't afraid to go to the mess hall at night. We weren't afraid to go anywhere on the station. And, but now, I wouldn't walk down here at night. You know, it's just a different world.
Do you think different in a bad way?
Well, you know, there's so much guns and everything else now that you don't know who's going to pull a gun on you or anything. We never even seen a gun when we were kids. Yeah, it was good. I don't know whether I would tell a young girl now to go or not.